Chosen one. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, as you wrestle with unanswered questions and you stare heaven in the face demanding why, God is drawing lines in your life, silent lines, lines that separate those who are being attacked for destruction and those being trained for greater glory. You need to know the difference. Let me tell you, not every disruption is a demonic assault. Not every pain is an enemy's arrow. Some of what's getting stripped away, some of what you feel crushing your chest in the late night hours, is divine process, holy scaffolding coming down so the real foundation can be set. There are 7 clear warnings the Spirit gives when you are being trained, not tormented. I need you to hear them. I need you to feel them in your bones, because when you recognize the right hand of God in your wilderness, you stop rebuking what's actually for your making. Let me show you the first warning. When sabotage is strangely specific and always exposes something hidden in you. It's not the wild chaos of enemy attack. No, it's the precision of a surgeon. Suddenly, someone betrays you. But it's not just betrayal. It's the one place in your heart you never wanted exposed. Old secrets resurface. A deep wound from childhood, a pattern in your thinking, a hidden dependency on someone's approval. God lets it rise up in ugly, unapologetic light. You cry sabotage, you swear it's the devil, but look close. Nothing is wasted. Every phone call missed, every awkward silence, every embarrassing email accidentally sent, it all presses on that one bruise you kept hidden. Training, not torment. It's the Father breaking the cycles you never broke yourself. Let me break this down for you even deeper. The second warning sounds like this. Opportunities dry up. But not only the ones you hoped for, the ones you thought defined your future. Right now, doors that once swung open at your touch are sealed shut. Interviews canceled last minute. The email confirming your big project is suddenly lost in spam. Investors vanish, just disappear. At first you panic, you refresh your inbox, you stalk your notifications, desperate for a chance. The panic tastes metallic under your tongue. But look again. Every missed opening forces you to sit with yourself. It's quiet, it's suffocating. But this is divine silence. God is killing the part of you that trusted platforms instead of purpose. He's making sure your identity isn't tied to any applause, no matter how loud. You think it's attack, but it's surgical. It's the hand of heaven building someone who lasts. Now let me take you into the third warning. Patterns repeat, not out of coincidence, but for confrontation. God brings the same kind of person, the same situation right back around. The coworker with the snide comments. The friend who betrays your confidence again. Financial shortfall that lines up same time every year like clockwork. It's exhausting, infuriating, and you ask, why me again? But listen, there's a lesson you refused the first time. There's wisdom you didn't grab hold of when it was gentle. Now, as it repeats, it's sharper, more undeniable. God isn't letting you move forward with cracks in your foundation. You call it bad luck. You call it sabotage. Heaven calls it curriculum, divine repetition until you learn what superficial comfort lets you ignore. He's after fruit that remains, not moments that pass. Let me show you a fourth warning right now. Connections drift apart, but only the ones you leaned on more than God. Suddenly, people you depended on go silent. They don't pick up. Their presence is gone. Birthdays missed, texts unanswered. You scan your messages, growing cold inside. You want to blame offense, pettiness, even demons. But look again. God is isolating you not to punish you, but to fortify you. He strips you of every false shelter. Every safety net he didn't ordain gets cut apart. He is drawing you back into secret, into intimacy, into a trust that lives on the wilderness, wind, and water. You have to walk this one alone, but you won't die here. The old you will. Fifth, and listen closely because this is where it gets severe. Nothing you use to numb the pain works anymore. Distractions lose flavor. Streaming hours don't comfort. Shopping feels empty. Even sleep, even scrolling, even prayer that is just routine. None of it relieves the ache. God isn't letting your medication medicate. You pace your kitchen at 3 a.m., breath tight, throat burning, cycling through old solutions that always kept you safe, but now the ache remains. Your body is worn down, hands shaking on the mug, eyes burning at the kitchen clock. You try worship music, try soothing podcasts, try pills you shouldn't. Still the night stretches on, no exit. This is 3 a.m. training, no sedative but surrender. God presses until all lazy options are spent and the only voice you want is His. In the dark, He builds your dependence from the ground up so when morning comes and nothing's fixed, you still have a will to stand. That's not torment, chosen one. That's the potter throwing you back on the wheel. Let me take you even deeper. The sixth warning. Blessings for others make your private pain bleed. You see it right now. People around you get what you prayed for. Pregnancies announced while you manage another loss. Job promotions posted while your inbox is dry. Engagement rings flashed while you clean up another breakup. You want to celebrate, you really do. But something inside screams, this isn't envy, it's exposure. God is pressing on your comparison until it breaks for good. Training strips you of silent resentment, not by magic, but by relentless exposure to someone else's harvest. He builds a spirit in you that can honor those who win when it feels like you're always losing. Because He intends for you to hold your blessing one day without pride, without strife, without fear of someone else's gain. And now let me give you the seventh warning when your prayers suddenly change. Not out of boredom, not out of desperation, but out of holy exhaustion. You stop asking for escape. You start surrendering. The words taste different. No more bargaining. No more rehearsing your pain. You lie on your back and whisper, whatever it takes, God, whatever you want. This is not defeat. It's divine relief. You stop rebuking devils and start inviting God to use the fire. Suddenly, obedience feels lighter than resistance. God trains you to prefer His glory over your comfort, to choose character over outcome, to survive on hope when nothing else makes sense. Chosen one. Right now, as you read these words, I decree you are not under destruction but under construction. Suddenly, the sabotage turns to revelation. The closed doors become secret training grounds. The repeated patterns are assignments hand-tailored for your overcoming. Every loneliness presses you closer to the only friend who will never betray. Every numbing habit stripped away will become your proof that it's only His presence that satisfies. Every public celebration you witness is soil for your blessing to grow without bitterness swallowing the root. Your surrender is not weakness. It's the greatest flex of your faith. They wanted you broken, but you became unbreakable. They plotted confusion, but heaven handed you clarity. They hoped you would curse God and quit, but you blessed Him and kept building. God trained you where others would have perished. This is not attack. This is the making of the chosen, and right now, suddenly overnight in the secret places, 7 warnings have proven what you carry, and you'll never mistake training for torment again. Let me take you further into the reversal that's happening right now, even as you feel the weight pressing harder than ever. For so long, the training looked like punishment. You paced the floors at night, wondering who you angered, searching your whole life for the hidden sin that called this storm to your door. You begged for relief but settled for numbness. You stared at your own reflection and only saw the failures, the missed chances, the closed doors, the silence. But listen to me. God never wastes pain. Not 1 hour spent crying on your bathroom floor has been ignored. Not one disappointment, not one sleepless night, not one loss. None of it happened to end you. Every moment of ache, every echo of why me has been heaven's hands breaking the old version of you and shaping someone you barely recognize. Right now, the reversal is turning. Right in the place of weeping. in the very field where you've sown tears and shame and fatigue. Harvest is startling up through the cracks. People who overlooked you, who dismissed you as damaged goods, as a lost cause, they're about to look again with startled eyes. What they saw as disqualification, God marked as his seal. The same silence that drove them away became the forge for a voice that cannot be silenced. The losses that felt like death were seeds that refused to stay buried. Even now, doors that had rusted shut are coming open with keys you never touched before. This is not a gradual shift, the kind you can explain or reason out with charts. No, it happens overnight. One text message, one phone call, one opportunity. You step forward and realize the very thing you thought counted you out. The rough edge, the brokenness, is what qualifies you in the new room God's opening. You're no longer molding yourself to fit. He's reshaping the environment to match the person you became in private agony. Let me show you what vindication looks like, because this is not the kind you see in movies or write in fairy tales. Vindication isn't walking back into the same crowd just to show them you made it. It's not pride or spite. It's quiet and undeniable. It's the apology you never demanded landing softly in your inbox. The congratulations from someone who never believed in your starting line. It's the one who blocked your number running into your name on every project, realizing the rooms they prayed you'd never enter are the ones you're invited to first. Yet something has changed inside you. The old craving for their approval is gone. Vindication tastes different when God serves it. No bitterness flavors the meal. You don't even want to boast, you want to bow. Because when you finally see that God set the whole stage, you no longer fight for a spotlight. You walk in what's already yours. Let me tell you, even as the reversal and vindication settle over your life, there comes a moment when God commissions you out of your wilderness, hands you the mantle that only suffering can tailor. This new commission is not an echo of the old. You feel it right now. Responsibility sits heavy, not as a burden, but like armor you can finally carry. People come looking for what broke you and find wisdom instead of wounds. They expect bitterness but get healing. The same hands that clenched in despair now open in generosity. Where you used to guard every secret, you become the confessor for those too crushed to pray out loud. Your pain unlocked pathways, your nights became maps. God didn't call you to survive for survival's sake. He's raising you up as a witness that no fire is wasted, no training season is without a crown on the other side. Now listen to me. This commissioning is not theory. You'll see it in the way broken people find you. Inbox messages, strangers at the supermarket, co-workers who drop their guard and tell you secrets they never told anyone. Suddenly you hold space for pain with a grace you did not have before. Provision comes, unexpected, undeniable. This time money arrives not as survival but as overflow. December's rent paid before October ends, bill notices, replaced with paid in full receipts, job offers and contracts appearing where doors had stayed slammed for years. Your name whispered in rooms you never entered. God builds your platform not out of ambition but necessity. Trials gave you credibility. Scars birthed authority. Now the impact is multiplied. One answer, one story, and a circle of influence ripples to places you've never seen. The ones who watched you stagger through training now watch you lead, unshaken and unashamed. Let me break it down even further. Relationships change, not by accident but arrangement. People you once had to chase suddenly pursue you. The friends who walked away, who couldn't handle your storms, come back with respect because they see the gold that fire refined. Love that was conditional gives way to connections that thrive on truth, not convenience. The loneliness that used to strangle you now becomes the filter that protects you. It's harder for manipulation, jealousy, or counterfeit comfort to get close. God is surrounding you with loyalty that can weather storms, with mentors who see potential instead of problems. with partners who join you in vision, not just pleasure. What left you was only the scaffolding. What remains and who comes now is family built on solid rock, proven by trial, loyal when storms return. Now let's talk about the inside, health and heart, mind and spirit. After a season of relentless training, the anxiety that once owned your nights begins to dissolve. Physical symptoms ease, headaches clear, sleep stretches long and deep where once it wouldn't come. Even lingering illnesses lose strength. You feel energy return, mornings arrive less like punishment and more like promise. The mind that spiraled in worry is steadied by peace that can't be shaken by circumstance. Where insomnia used to cripple, rest rises, not out of medication, not out of distraction, but from the assurance that God is for you. And never again will you confuse his training with his rejection. Let me show you the fruit on the branch. Honor comes from unexpected places. People you never thought would recognize your name not only learn it, but recommend you. Grants, opportunities, interviews, suddenly what was hidden comes out in the open. Your reputation, smeared during the season of misunderstanding, becomes untouchable. Old rumors dissolve in the face of honor that can't be bought or influenced. You walk rooms unannounced and feel the atmosphere shift. You stop begging for a seat at any table. God prepares one and sits you down while enemies watch, silent and in awe. And you don't gloat. You carry the weight with humility, remembering the years no one knew your battles except the God who saw every tear. Spiritually, you step lighter but stronger. Fasting is no longer duty, it's delight. Prayer comes easier, discernment sharper. You see the signs before the storm and know when to stand, when to rest, when to praise. The training produced an ammunition the enemy cannot match. Gratitude that won't die. Faith that laughs at statistics, hope that refuses to bow. You are no longer trapped by your environment. You shape it. When darkness rises around you, light flows out from you. Effortless, unhindered. Other people try to explain the difference but can't. It's glory, pure and simple, carried by one who's been through the valley and didn't quit. Let me make it plain. Everything about your life now testifies that God knew exactly what he was doing in the season of stripping. You used to mourn what you thought you lost. Now you bless the day it left, because what replaced it is unshakable, unstealable, unmistakably God-wrought. You were never under attack for destruction. You were under divine training for destiny. And so I speak it now, chosen one right now, as you read, as you breathe, as you feel the air shift. This is your decree. What they mistook for your ending was only the beginning of your witness. What they called disaster, God named groundwork. What shrank others down, grew you up. They planted lies, but you reaped truth. They buried your name, and God resurrected your reputation. They wanted your suffering to be your lifetime. He turned it into your platform. They prayed for your downfall, but heaven wrote your elevation. They used absence to punish you, but God used isolation to promote you. Suddenly, overnight, irrevocably. What was lost is restored, what was stolen is returned, what was broken is rebuilt, better, stronger, higher than ever before. Your reversal is real. Your vindication is undeniable. Your commission is alive. You step now into the promise, trained not to survive, but to reign. The evidence is in your hands, the oil is on your head. The blessing falls where only God could have placed it. All 7 warnings fulfilled, all 7 tests passed. Now suddenly overnight you arise in fullness, called and kept for such a time as this. Chosen one, let me take you even deeper, because right now in this very hour the weight of your reversal is becoming visible in the plain. Daily places where no one but God saw you longing, waiting, breaking and rebuilding. Where shame once hunched your shoulders and silence filled your phone. See how the pattern is shifting. The same streets you walked with your head down. The same offices where eyes slid over you uninterested. The same family tables where no one asked. To every empty chair there's now a pull, an expectant hush when you enter. A sense that you carry something heavy, holy, and unmistakable. This isn't just embarrassment erased. It's dignity returned with interest. Doors that once felt welded shut now creak at your touch, and sometimes you don't even need to knock. People seek you out for what you carry, rushing to make space at tables that once turned you away. Even those who claim to have moved on, who swore you meant little more than a passing memory, suddenly they can't move forward without you. You feel the reversal in the invitations that come not for your presence alone, but for your wisdom, your courage, the fragrance of the battles you survived. Let me show you right now this is not random. Vindication always leaves tracks in the earth, proof for the doubters and a signal for the hungry. You start recognizing it in places so ordinary you almost overlook them. The grocery store, the gas station, the school pickup line. Eyes meet yours with a knowing, strangers struck by something in your kindness. Cashiers lingering, people drawn to the quiet radiance resting over you. It isn't pride, it's not posture. It's the residue of a reversal burning in your bones. People who gossiped see the proof but can't explain it. How you walk freer, how your presence changes a room, how their narratives dissolve in the light of your peace. Old friends who mocked your faith, your decisions, your generous forgiveness. They find themselves drawn back, needing advice for storms they never thought would come to their own house. Enemies once sure of your collapse now stammer and stutter when they try to retell the same old story. Even their voices feel brittle, the details worn out. Vindication is never just an event, it's a continuous unfolding, a testimony that keeps writing new sentences every single day you stand, breathe, move in the center of God's restoration. But hear me, vindication is never just the restoration of your name or the public mending of old wounds. It's deeper, more costly, and more precious than that. Vindication is when you realize you no longer ache in the places that kept you up at 3 a.m. The accusations that haunted you become powerless. Where you were once desperate for a clearing of your name, you find yourself released from the need for explanation. The peace you carry is not dependent on others believing your side of the story. Now the comfort is in knowing God saw it all, every accusation, every twisted narrative, every room where they whispered and plotted and misunderstood. And He settled the matter in your favor before you even walked out the wilderness. It becomes enough that you and God know the truth. That kind of vindication can't be faked. It doesn't come from apology tours or apologies that never arrive. It comes from a well dug in the pain, a personal altar built where you cried out and heaven answered not with thunder but with certainty. You are vindicated not to return evil for evil or shame your accusers, but to invite others to that same altar, to point to the place where only God could have pulled you through. Let me show you how this same vindication is opening the door to a commission, a mantle bigger than your disappointment, broader than your need for justice. Right now, God is handing you keys, keys forged in long days of silence and nights of anguish. Keys that open doors to other people's prisons. Keys that unlock hope in rooms filled with bitterness. You notice that what once disqualified you on a resume now draws the hungry, the broken, the desperate straight to your table. They don't want rehearsed answers. They crave the raw truth, the story of how you thought it was over, how you were convinced this valley would be your grave. And yet, here you are, breathing, prospering, teaching from scars, not open wounds. This is the commission, to carry hope, not just as sentiment, but as proof you lived through the dark and didn't lose your praise. Your scars become the sermons, your tears the ink. You're overcoming the invitation for others to step into their own reversal. You sense the weight of this new responsibility in the way people find you. The text at midnight, the old friend who never believed in your faith now desperate for prayer. The young one in your community who admits they've watched you, seen you walk steady when storms knocked everyone else down. They want to know how. They want to know who held you up. You become a living answer, not because you studied harder, but because you survived. And suddenly you realize the pain was never personal, it was always for a people. You are called to stand in the gap for those who are exactly where you were, battered at midnight, unheard at dawn, begging for some proof this won't last forever. You become a bridge for others' breakthrough. God commissions you not for self-indulgence, but so what He did in you can erupt like blessing over everyone willing to hope again. Let me take you to the practical proof, the outworking of being truly commissioned. Old habits break off and don't return. Places you swore you'd never revisit. No appetite remains. Addictions that comforted you in the void lose their hook. Night comes and you don't dread it. Mornings come and you wake before the alarm, expectant, not alarmed. The money you feared would never arrive starts to flow. Even from sources you never pursued. You find that your skill, your name, your character attracts opportunity that you don't have to manipulate or chase. Relationships deepen, shallow alliances fall away. Peace rules your heart where anxiety once had full command. Where once you waited for everything you needed, recognition, affection, even basic respect, it's now extended without you having to ask. You become someone others depend on, and not from exhaustion or performance, but because what you carry cannot be counterfeited. Let me show you how it multiplies. Testimonies start with one person you help, and before you know it, entire circles change. Your commission grows legs, moves through families, through organizations, through communities thirsty for real evidence that God still vindicates, still reverses, still commissions ordinary people marked by extraordinary grace. Your simple yes in the dark becomes a torch for many. Hope transfers, healing multiplies. Where you felt isolated, you now find yourself surrounded by a new kind of family. The ones who recognize your survival, who celebrate your rising rather than compete with it, who call out the gold and refuse to let you shrink back into the dust. You thought you'd be forever marked by your wounds, now you're known by your resilience. And so, listen to me now as I speak this closing decree over you. Every ounce of suffering is being weaponized against the enemy. Every moment you thought was wasted is being redeemed in public view. They wanted your head bowed, but heaven commands you to stand tall. They plotted your obscurity, but God broadcasts your name. They mocked your hope in private, but you live vindicated in public. The closed doors, the whispered rumors, the emptied rooms, the silent phones, all of it now gives way to open windows, shouts of recognition, full tables and vibrating phones lit up with new invitations. You were disqualified in their eyes. God qualified you by the tests they never saw. You were sent to the wilderness to be forgotten. God used it to mark you as unforgettable. Right now, overnight, as the dust settles, you find your name written not just in their memory, but in destiny's scrolls. Vindication isn't coming, it's here. Commission isn't pending, it's already burning in your spirit. So I decree every enemy will witness your rising. Every betrayer will see you blessed. Every loss will be answered with abundance. Every time you were ashamed, honor is your portion. Every silence you suffered will be answered with shouts of joy. Every night of weeping births a morning of laughter. They tried to bury you, but God planted you. They tried to close the book, but God wrote a new chapter. You are not under attack. You are under divine training. And from this moment, you step out, vindicated, commissioned, equipped, and utterly unstoppable. Suddenly, overnight, right now, chosen one, right now in the places where the cracks still show and the ache lingers beneath your ribs, God is proving himself faithful in ways that the world cannot erase. There's a hush in the room as your name rises, a gravity shifting around you. You feel it in small moments, the message you never expected, the eye contact that feels different, the sense that old limits don't fit anymore. The world may try to convince you that this season is just a short reprieve, a lucky break. But you know deep in your knower that heaven is breaking the rules for you. The momentum changes when you least expect. They said your future would be stuck, but suddenly, one word, one divine appointment, and the spell is broken. The limitations are shattered. The places where you used to get stuck have been leveled. The pain that pooled at your feet has become the very water that lifts you. Let me take you right into the living proof of your reversal. The finances that once slipped through your fingers, each dollar a struggle, each bill a threat, now replaced by unexpected deposits in your account, refunds you never saw coming. Provision that chases you down instead of the other way around. Instead of fighting to keep the lights on, you find yourself paying someone else's overdue notice, sowing into needs that used to mirror your own. This isn't imaginary. This is money showing up from corners you thought were dried up. People who once failed to return what they owed you now find ways to bless you, making right without you having to beg, reframing their debt as honor instead of apology. Opportunities knock and you don't have to force a facade. You answer with truth, strength, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you were kept by God, not luck. This is reversal so sure, so tangible that regrets lose their bitterness. Relationships turn too. All those rejected calls, ignored messages, conversations that ended without closure, they come full circle. You hear the voice of the one who hurt you, calling now because they see something different. Humility and victory. Strength without the venom. The ones who abandoned you at your lowest come back, not to disrupt but to apologize, to admit that what wounded you also exposed their need for what you've gained in the storm. You discover that peace in your spirit is more persuasive than any argument. Your forgiving heart becomes a testimony they can't deny. You are free to bless those who left, to celebrate those returning without needing to keep tally or prove your worth. Vindication means you don't carry the ledger. God does the accounting. And right now, the record is set straight, debts paid in full, old ties loosened if they can't survive the new temperature of your anointed life. Right in the heart of this reversal, God hands you new authority. Authority to speak truth and disrupt lies, not through shouting or fighting, but simply by standing, by existing whole where you were once shattered. Decisions come easier. The doubts don't swim around your head like before because there is a stability in you that cannot be faked or borrowed. You choose your yes with confidence and your no without fear. People sense something new in the way you carry yourself. They respect your boundaries. They honor your insight. They value your presence. You don't have to prove or justify your choices. God has placed a visible mantle on your life, and even those who don't know your story recognize the weight you carry. You walk into rooms and shift the temperature with a single glance because heaven's backing is obvious no matter how hard the world tries to deny it. Let me walk you into the trenches of your vindication, where the whispers become applause, where the accusations lose their sting, where your character is so secure that rumors crash against you and break apart. People who thought silence would be your end are startled to discover you're thriving in places they can't reach. They notice favor growing around you not as a shield, but as an invitation. Invitation to bring their hidden wounds, to test your authenticity, to watch whether you gloat or extend grace. Every test they put you through, you pass, not with arrogance, but with the ease of someone who's seen the bottom and learned humility. Their narrative can't define you anymore. Gossip loses its teeth. Slander dries up and falls from your shoulders like dust. You start to realize that God is more concerned with your reputation in heaven than in the rumor-filled rooms of men. Vindication looks like open doors no one can shut, like platforms you never asked for, like recommendations from sources who once opposed you. Right now, your evidence is undeniable. And chosen one, there is another vein of authority opening inside you, a holy boldness to dream again. The very visions you stuffed down, the passions you abandoned in your lowest season, they come surging back, not out of striving, but because the training has cleared the clutter. You begin to see possibilities you thought belonged to someone stronger, someone cleaner, someone more put together. But God delights in reversing the order. And so the gifts you cast off in shame reattach themselves with greater force. That book you buried under other people's opinions, the ideas now pour out. That business you let sit dormant, suddenly partners find you, strategies click, funding flows in. The ministries or projects you thought were a joke become magnets for favor. And the pain behind their birth becomes the testimony that attracts all the right help. You are commissioned in the very place they called cursed. Your name becomes the answer to prayers you never heard, to needs in people you never met. The world around you shifts because God has decided to display you. He trains in secret, but he rewards in public. Let me show you the reality of this mantle. Your household shifts. Children sleep easier, families reconcile where rifts seemed permanent. Arguments lose their edge, and patience grows like fruit where frustration once ruled. Even those resistant to your change start catching the overflow. Where you once carried tension in your chest, felt sickness tighten around your nerves, there's a new ease, a lighter step, a peace that's hard to explain but undeniable in its effect. Healing follows you, not just physical. The whole environment feels cleaner, lighter, less hostile to hope. Fear that used to bite at your heels is replaced by expectancy. You hear God clearer. You see meaning in the mundane. Dreams return, and they don't torment, they build. The people who watched for your fall, who measured your worth in rumors and mistakes, now become silent students of your process. They see that you survived what tried to kill you. They witness the restoration, but more than that, they wonder at how soft your words remain, how stable your joy, how quick your forgiveness. Their hearts break open slowly and surely as they realize God's mercy makes you dangerous not in threat but in hope. You become a lighthouse, a landmark of possibility, that if you can rise, so can they. Now listen closely. This commissioning isn't a removal from trial, but an empowerment to reign right where the trial happened. You will hear the same voices doubting, but you respond differently. You will see opportunities to revisit old battles, but you choose better. What once triggered you now reminds you. You outlasted, you survived, and you don't owe pain an audience anymore. Where you used to crave escape, now you cultivate gardens out of the wilderness. There's a steadiness to your spirit. The discipline forged in breaking now guards your rising. Every choice you make builds legacy instead of regret. Let me decree over your life now the culmination of this reversal, vindication, and commission. Everything you were forced to release, God is restoring with multiplicity. The years eaten are given back with yield. Every platform stolen is replaced with a higher one. Every loss becomes seed for greater harvest. They wanted to see you stuck in cycles, but you've become a cycle breaker. They wanted to see you finished, but you are frontline, pioneering, prepared for places you never could have imagined while you were in the struggle. So right now, suddenly, as these words find you, I decree. Where rejection once defined your limits, favor now defines your future. Where poverty kept you pressed, resources flow with ease. Where silence reigned, God's approval thunders. Where confusion stole your peace, clarity guides you without fear. Where loneliness felt final, a tribe finds you, bone of your bone and faith for your journey. What the enemy meant for evil, turned for good and beyond good, pressed down, shaken together, running over. The old script is broken. The pain is not the headline. Resurrection is. Your name is linked to restoration. Your chapter is not finished. It's only just begun. Step forward. The reversal is public. The vindication is undeniable. The commission is irrevocable. Every test has become a testimony. Every trial, your training ground. Suddenly, overnight, in plain view, the former things cannot hold you. God lifts you up and keeps you standing, never to return, never to bow, never to break again. You reign, you rise, and you remain right now,